Loca is coming to stores shortly. We can say almost now.
No?
So some weeks ago, also Alessio hinted to a new game or new game system, Loca Tarot. Obviously, we know about a bit longer about that. But for some weeks, we are talking about Loca. It's traditional tarot, or it has something to do with the Loca universe somehow.
Yes, so definitely. Yeah, the Tarot of Loca, which is coming to Kickstarter very, very soon, and we'll talk about that later. But has like in tarot or in playing cards, there are four suits. Yeah, there's always four suits. I don't know. In tarot, instead of being spades, hearts, diamonds, and clubs, in tarot would be coins, swords, cups, and clubs again. But the Word of Loca has four elements at war. So immediately we went, okay, that sounds perfect. So what happens is the four suit cards, the four suit of cards, are actually elemental cards. So there is Earth, and you go the Ace of Earth, one, so, which is one, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of Earths, of Earth, and then you have the Jack of Earth, which looks quite closely to the pawn of the chess pieces, the dwarf, the Earth guy, and then you have the Knight, because tarot has knights as well as jacks and queens and kings, has got four face cards, four figures. So actually you go Jack, Knight, Queen, King, which are all kind of chess pieces as well. They look like the chess pieces, which is beautiful because you have the elemental in the cards and the pieces which look like the chess pieces and the figures. So actually the four suits are very Loca. Of course, tarot, on top of this, has also what they call the major arcana. The major arcana are effectively the fifth element. They are, they are the fifth, the one above, the one that rules them all. In fact, it is the gods. It's the gods and demigods of the world of Loca. Like we hinted in the Loca board game, where we have the queen of the fifth element. So there's all these mystical creatures that are not one of the one of the four elements. They are the fifth element, the ruling element, and the the major arcana are more similar to the traditional major arcana, just because I love the old traditional tarot. The hermit, the wheel of fortune, the hanged man, the magician. There's all these elements in it, and so they are those cards, but have been slightly made more fantasy and less Christian, less, so it's a bit more generic fantasy. So, because we don't want to offend sensibilities and stuff. So it is very fantasy, but they are the same type of cards. And I can show you some examples maybe as we speak, if I can manage how to work out the screen share.
What size do you think it will have to cost, Alessio?
The traditional tarot size. I mean,
Okay.
the tarot in the market. Of course, there's hundreds and hundreds, thousands of type of tarot cards. A lot of them are very arty, and they tend to be used for either just for collection, or people use them for divination and stuff like that. But there also exists a type of tarot, which is the French tarot, which is played in France, and the cards are very similar to normal playing cards. So if this would be the size of them, and that looks like a playing card. The only difference is, of course, that then you have in the suit, you also have knights, which you normally don't have in tarot, like that. For example, is one of the face cards. You have a knight, which is not a traditional, not in playing cards, and then you have the major arcana. But in this playing card of tarot, all the character of the old tarot is gone and has been replaced by a simple, plain, kind of generic scene from La Belle Époque. So is lost the evocative side of it and has become very practical, because basically you see there's a number on each corner, So it becomes something that is very usable. You know, you use it in your hand, you can have it like this, but it's not very evocative. So that is, and this is a game, it's a card game, which is similar to Bridge, similar to Whist. Bridge, I think, is the best example because it's most known across the world. But then, of course, there are the old tarot, the ones that are very evocative, the ones that actually are, you know, the ones like, this is an example of an old Marseille-style tarot, where actually things look like that. And these are very cool. These have a lot of medieval feeling to them. But the drawback with these is very difficult to play using them. Because instead of having, you know, I showed you the 9 of diamonds, or clubs, or everything, and instead of having those, you have cards that look like this. And suddenly, you know, there's no numbers in the corners, so holding them in your hand becomes very difficult because, you know, what am I holding? I don't quite know. I have a lot of funky stuff, but I don't know. So what we are trying to do with Loca is to get the best of both, and I can show you some of that because basically in Google Plus, I think I can share my. Is it a desktop I can share? I'm gonna try. Okay, let's try to share my desktop. Oh, look, it's you. So what you could do.
I love it.
I give you an example.
Okay.
So this would be a card. This is an ace of earth, and you can. Before we get to the face card, the normal cards look like this. So you see, it's earth. It's got numbers in the corners, and you can see the corner is still variable. This is an ace, and then you get to the face card, the knight, which looks familiar, a bit like the knight in obviously in the chess pieces. The jack, which again is the pawn from the chess piece, really. The queen, and the king. So these are the pictures that are the actual face cards and the tarot. But then you, of course, that was earth. Then you have here air. Then you have ice or water, and then you have fire. So these will become, that's a king, that's a queen, that's a knight, as you can see. But again, we're working on them, so obviously things are not finished. And here you have the moon. So this is the major arcana. So this is one of the major arcana, the moon, which again has the things in the corner. So it's playable, it's practical. Yes. It's practical, but it's also cool. So it's got both things.
Yes.
The hermit.
Son muy elegantes, eh?
Thank you. Ralph is a great artist. He's very good. I really like his stuff. And then you have some cards like this one and this one, which are new. I added to make the game slightly different and unique. This is the back of the card.
Whoa.
Yes, it's very, very highly decorated. So I think now we can stop the screen share.
Yes.
Stop that. Yep. So how do I stop the screen share?
I think the design looks really nice, and also something I think important for Loca the Tarot game, that we have the sensation it isn't from nowadays. It could be possibly something that someone could do 200, 300 years ago and draw it. And that is the designs that these cards are inspiring, that it's quite possible someone 200 years ago could design this. Because really elegant, really nice, how all mixed together, and the colors and the shapes are also really good chosen.
Thank you. Yeah, we tried. We tried to make it look old. And for example, everything is hand drawn. There is no digital going on. I mean, digital is used to double images and split images, but the actual artwork is all hand drawn with traditional colors, traditional. I mean, Ralph will explain that better. Obviously, it's a thing, but he didn't use any digital drawing, so it does feel like that. The icons are not perfect. It's not a perfect circle because it's been hand drawn, so it has that feeling of it. Yes.
That it was we could see on the image and what it evokes.
The game. We can talk about the game, as in you were asking how it plays. I said it's like Bridge, but Bridge is very sophisticated. It is kind of a difficult game. I mean, is complex. What I've done is I've taken the traditional tarot, the way they play it in France, which I think is the oldest way, the closest to the medieval way of playing, And even that is still fairly complicated. It's similar to Bridge, really, because I think probably Bridge evolved from that kind of game. And I simplified it. I made it simple. The rules, I boiled them down to a whist level, something that basically you can play with your family. The idea is that I played it with some guys. There's going to be a hangout tomorrow where they show us playing it, and I taught them the game 5 minutes. They started to play it after the first time they played it and learned it, and then they could play it. So it's very simple, but like chess, there's even less rules than chess, even fewer rules, of course. But then, of course, the strategy because it's a team game, it's 2 players against 2 players, and you cannot speak with your teammate. So the rules are simple. The game is extremely simple and playable by kids and enjoyable. And but at the same time, obviously, it's very sophisticated in the strategy of it, which I think is the best game, really. There's one more thing, really, is that the art of this, I mean, I'm sure you've seen it, but what Ralph is doing, I find amazing, because I really like his stuff, because he illustrated Dungeons and Dragons, he illustrated Magic the Gathering, he illustrated, World of Warcraft, all sorts of games, Talisman, Games Workshop stuff. He's done so much stuff that when you see his art, sometimes you go, oh, that was you. You did that, and you did that, and you did that too. And so he's a very talented guy, and he's actually trying this as something different, because as you notice, it's not modern style, as you said, is ancient style, so it's flat colors, flat lines, but a lot of detail. So it's interesting for him, and he's really enjoying it, and he's making some really nice pieces. And basically, the Kickstarter is gonna be pretty much to get me enough cash to pay him, because obviously, he's a big artist, so it's expensive. So I really need to get the cash to pay him, and the Kickstarter is gonna go out soon. So probably I say Friday or Saturday. We have decided this week, and the one important thing to keep in mind, I guess, if I start with you to drop the message, is through the Kickstarter you can actually buy the original art that he did for this. So actually getting in first, because obviously there's only one of each piece that is down for the tarot, because it's the original. So actually getting in quick and getting those pieces will be an important thing of that Kickstarter, I think.
Alessio, is something else do you want us to about Loca say that we haven't asked, or?
Well, no, I mean, you guys are the first to which I revealed so much, and because obviously we're getting close to this, and I'm getting excited, and I cannot stop talking about it. But thank you. I think we've done a great amount of detail and images and stuff that have never been seen before. So no, thank you for the occasion to do this, for the chance.